Hello out there. My name once again is Felix Okeke. I am your marriage counselor and coach. Welcome to Marriage Without Tears channel on YouTube. I discovered that every marriage starts with a lot of excitement, a lot of expectations, a lot of fanfare. There is a whole lot of belief that in a few years' time, the couple will meet their expectations in marriage. They believe that they will have children. They believe that they will overcome all manner of obstacles and challenges. They believe that they will triumph at the end of the day. They believe so much in themselves. They believe even in, the expectations of others concerning them. And they are willing to achieve that. They enter marriage with a lot of joy, a whole lot of joy. But I discovered that over a season, those expectations are not always met. I also believe that somehow some couples or some partners are so engrossed in their spiritual, in their business challenges, in their careers, that they fail to understand that their marriage is deteriorating, that the joy of the marriage is going down. They fail to understand that. And over a season, you discover that many marriages have collapsed as a result of that. Then the couple begin to do a lot of buck passing. What did you do? Why did you do this? What happened along the way? What brought us to this particular terrain? What actually happened? They begin to pass, buck pass. But after tonight, I am going to give you 7 clear signals, 7 signs that shows that your marriage is deteriorating, that your marriage is falling. And then 5 things you must do immediately to recover the joy of your marriage. That is our topic tonight. And I want you to pay ultimate attention, because when you observe these things in your marriage, you must be very, very careful. You must be very, very eager. You must be zealous enough to cut off these tendencies. Otherwise, the outcome could be disastrous. So pay ultimate attention. The first sign that shows that your marriage is going down is when there is a lot of arguments and arguments and arguments. You guys can't just stop arguing about everything, whether major or minor issues. You argue and argue and argue. You argue in the morning, you argue at noontime, you argue at the twilight of the day, you argue while going to work, you argue while coming back from work. Everything is littered with arguments. Things that are supposed to, be overlooked. It becomes something that you bandy words about. You use all manner of acerbic words against one another in the name of argument. You never cease in arguing over every vital issue. You fail to understand that there are different sides to an issue. You can't get yourself to sit back and look at issues proactively or objectively rather. You no longer do that. Whenever any matter comes up, either from your partner or even from yourself, the other one is willing to argue and argue and argue. Argument is destructive to marriage. And when you allow argument to become the voice in your home, you can believe, of course, that the joy of that marriage will soon crumble. That marriage is doomed. So, no matter whatever it is, cease from engaging in unnecessary arguments, especially when they are not necessary. Especially when it is bringing out the negative side of you. Please cease from indulging in arguments. It's very, very important. The second thing that can also, mess up the best of marriages, or that can cause a marriage joy to begin to go down, is what I may call the use of foul language. The use of foul language, acerbic words. You never cease in using acerbic words against one another, deteriorating words, demeaning remarks, demeaning words. You criticize one another. You always use words that will undermine the respect and the joy of the other. So anytime you begin to do that, you cast aspersions on the character of one another. You cast aspersions on the behavior of one another. Anytime it has come to that and you no longer see the goodness in one another, all you see is weaknesses. All you see is the downside. All you see is the vices. You no longer see the virtues. That is where a problem comes into a marriage. Anytime you are talking as a couple, you no longer choose your words wisely. You no longer care the feelings of one another when you use words. Is very, very detrimental to any marital union. If you continue to do that, over a season, you will discover that the joy of the marriage will, it will begin to go down. Very, very terrible indeed. You also discover over time that your partner will begin to appreciate the company of friends rather than your own company. Because these are the friends that bring out the joy in her or in him. And then whenever you are together, all you do is, curse one another, bring out the downside, the weaknesses of one another, is detrimental to marriage. So that's the second thing that happens when a marriage is going down. The third thing that happens when a marriage is going down is when there is no longer joy in sexual intercourse. I usually say, I have said this several times in some of my past productions, that the sexual life of a couple is a measurement of the joy or the health of that relationship. So when you discover that you are no longer conjugating like you used to do, or you are now doing it as a duty of love, not out of excitement, not out of marital joy, but simply as a duty of love, or as a matter of fact, it has become such a humdrum experience that maybe the woman just lies down on the bed just like a log of wood. It doesn't show any excitement, no feelings. Or the man jumps on her and is more eager to satisfy himself and walk away. I mean, when that is the case, you can believe me that the glory of that marriage is going down. When the sexual intercourse is no longer exciting, when it has lost its steam, when you are not doing it just as a duty, just come and do it and let us go our different ways. When it has come to that, then of a certainty, the joy of that marriage or the marriage itself is going down. Is going down. That is the third thing. And before I go into the fourth one, please look at the red button by my side. Click on it right away. Get subscribed and let's go on. The moment you get subscribed, you also encourage us in what we are doing. So please get subscribed immediately. Click that red button and get subscribed. The fourth one is what I call indifference, or lack of apathy. Indifference. Or apathy rather. Indifference. No empathy. You are no longer interested in whatever is happening in the life of one another. He can go out, he can come back anytime he wants. You don't care. She can eat wherever she wants. You don't care. Whether she comes back from the market early or late, you don't care. When there is general apathy in the home, when nobody is showing any concern about the welfare of the other, when there's now lack of love, lack of compassion, lack of the joy of companionship, then certainly the joy and the glory of that marriage is going down. And I've seen it happen over and over again. I know of a friend of mine who was so engrossed in his spiritual life. He goes to the mountain, he spends 1 month in the mountain, he comes back, he does not care about whether the wife is interested, is under pressure or not. He goes his ways, he comes. I can tell you, at the end of the day, as I'm talking to you now, that couple is divorced. So, apathy, lack of compassion, no empathy, indifference is very detrimental to marriage, because every quality marriage is rooted on quality sharing of ideas, sharing of visions, sharing of general sharing of life. That is what every glorious marriage is rooted in. So when you are now doing it every man to his own business, then the glory of that marriage is undermined. And I want you to take that to heart. It's very, very important. Please, we will talk about that when I want to give you solutions. So let's say that the fourth one is indifference, general indifference. Very, very bad indeed in a marriage. And of course, the fifth one that can also create some terrible nightmare for any couple is when that couple is more interested in the company of others other than themselves. And I can tell you that it happens every now and then. When the man had been so used to his set of friends that he does not no longer realize that he is now married, therefore he has to cut himself from the apron strings of those friends. When the same thing happens to the woman, you are always moving with the ladies, and these ladies are yet unmarried, but you are now married. You should live a new life. I have seen situations whereby the couple or the partner still got hooked up to their former friends. They continue living the singles lifestyle while they were now married. And the consequence can be very, very terrible indeed. So many marriages have been damaged by unworthy friends. Friends you should no longer cohort with. Friends you should walk away from. Because the moment you get married, you should develop another set of friends. Look for people who are in marriage. Look for people who understand what marriage is about, who understand what companionship is all about. Even if you are in a church or in any other gathering, look for people of like mind so that you work with them. The moment you are married, you no longer belong to the singles. Please, I want you to have that at the back of your mind. Many marriages have been ruined by single brethren who still cohorted with you as a partner in a relationship. Please, you don't need to do that. And then, of course, the fifth thing that can ruin a marriage is lack of compromise. Lack of compromise. I have seen people who are so, they don't yield. They don't want to give room for suggestions of other people. But that is what marriage is about. You move from the place of dependence to a place of independence and then interdependence. Dependence as at the time when you were still depending on your parents for sustenance, for advice, for counsel, for all manner of things. You depended on them. And then at a particular point in time, they launched you. You came into the world and you began to work and began to do other things. You are no longer yielding to their own apron string. So you became an independent person. No entanglements anywhere. You made up your own mind. You go where you wanted to go. But the moment you get married, you have moved from independence to a period of interdependence. When you come into a period of interdependence, that means you have to take another person's opinion into consideration, another person's suggestions, another person's ideas. You have to harness those ideas together to be able to build a profitable union. But I have seen so many people, they don't do that. They don't do that, and it can undermine the best of marriages. I have seen people also never willing to give up on the traditions, quote and unquote, or the cultures, quote and unquote, from where they came from. I've seen somebody say, I don't think that is how it is done in my own culture. And you are talking about somebody who is already a Christian or who is already a Muslim. It's not done like that in my own culture. The place where I come from, my ancestors, they don't do that. My God, my God, my God. You must move from the culture, the way it's done in your traditional culture to the present culture where you now belong, because the spiritual culture is above every other form of culture. You are a Christian, you are a Muslim, whatever spiritual foundation where you are, why don't you look on that culture and do whatever you are doing? So please, that every culture, especially the spiritual, we accommodate the feelings, we accommodate the ideas, the perceptions of one another. And when a partner fails to do that, invariably what you are saying is that the other person does not matter. His idea or her idea does not matter, and it can ruin the best of marriages. I tell you, it can ruin the best of marriages. I want you to be very, very careful how you look on that. It can ruin the best of marriages. That is where marriages continue going down. When a partner feels that my suggestions, my ideas are not valued, what do you think he or she will do? She keeps to himself, or she takes those ideas to people outside who will affirm her or him, who will affirm his position. These are what makes marriage work, marriage fail. So at a particular point in time, the couple begin to look at themselves as strangers because they could no longer accommodate one another. Lack of compromise is very detrimental to any marital union. I want you to watch out on that. And what is our seventh one? Our seventh one that can, that makes marriages to deteriorate. Lack of appreciation. When a partner fails to appreciate the sacrifice of another, when you fail to appreciate the fact that, that person is making the best of his or her own contributions to the union, when you fail to appreciate that, when you fail to appreciate the uniqueness of one another, when you fail to appreciate the joy of one another, when you fail to appreciate what we are bringing to the marital table to make it work, that marriage can begin to deteriorate. And I have seen so many couples, they begin to ask themselves, where did we go wrong? What happened? Where did we fail? What happened over time? What happened is that you fail to show gratitude for the sacrifices of your partner. You fail to show appreciation for what he or she is doing to bring joy to that marriage. You fail to see it. And because you fail to see it, that person became agitated, became frustrated, and other things came in. And the only thing that was left, the only option was to walk away. So, please, I want you as a married person to take some of these 7 points we have mentioned. Take it to heart. Take it to heart. even as you begin to work on how to change the tempo, how to recover your marriage. And I want you please look at that reading by my side. Click on it. When we come back, I will also tell you some of the things you need to do, at least 5 things you need to do to recover the joy of your marriage. What are the 5 things you need to do to recover the joy of your marriage? I'll be very, very, short, very brief in this. The very first thing you need to do is to take stock of the health of your marriage. At what position are you now? Have you become better? Have you become happier in your marriage than the day you got wedded? Have you become happier over these few years, over these few seasons? Have you become happier, or have you become more sad over time? Take stock of your marriage. Ask yourself, how did we get to this point? What actually happened? What have we done? What have we not done? Take stock of your marriage. There's no person that will tell himself or herself the honest truth like himself, like that person. You are the one who can tell yourself the honest truth. Sit back, take stock of your marriage. Check where you erred. Check some of the things that was done that should not be done. Check, take stock of your marriage. Ask yourself, in which area have we erred? In which area have we made progress? In which area have we fallen? In which area? Ask yourself. And of course, I'm talking about yourself. Do a self-assessment of even what you have done to bring that marriage to where it is now. Very, very important indeed. The second thing you must do, take up a pen and paper and write out the 5 virtues, the positive aspects, the strengths of your spouse. What are his or her basic strengths? What areas do you mark him 100% or 80%? What are those areas where you value him most? What are the things he's doing that is causing great joy in your heart? What are those things? What are those things? As a woman, write them down. As a man, write them down. What are the positive sides of your spouse? Write 5 of them and then tell yourself, how can I enhance this area in his life? How can I make this area to become better in her life? What are the things I need to do to encourage him or her to become better in these points I have raised? Very, very important indeed. And then thirdly, write down yourself, what are the things I have done that I should not have done over this period of time? What are the errors, the mistakes I have made as an individual? What are the things I have done that brought this marriage to where it is now? Check your emotional life, check your spiritual life, check your mental life, check your business life, check your career life. What are the things I have done? In what way have I erred? What mistakes, what errors have I made over a period of time that brought this marriage to where it is now? Very, very important indeed. Very, very vital. That's the third thing that you must do right away. Do that right away. And then, of course, the fourth thing, you must ask yourself immediately, who are responsible for the situation in my marriage now? Beyond me, who are the people that have encouraged me, that have brought this kind of shame onto me, that has brought this marriage to where it is now? Possibly your parents have contributed through their unwise counsel, through their unwise statements, through the ways they have supported you, through some of the things they have said to you. Possibly from your friends, possibly from your associates. There may be 1 or 2 people outside of yourself who have encouraged you either to be indifferent or to be sarcastic or to be non-compromising. There may be 1 or 2 people who have encouraged that vice in you. Make an immediate, be determined right now to cut off these people from your life. Very, very important indeed. Cut them off. They are the people that are causing great harm and great damage to your marital life. Very, very important. So you must do that immediately. And of course, the final thing, if you want to recover the joy of your marriage, is that you must be determined not to walk away from your marital vows. Be determined right now. If there be any opening, any doors which you have opened as a door of exit to walk away from your vows, close it right away. Because until you close it, you will never have the determination, the discipline that is required for you to make the necessary adjustments. It's very, very important. Close every exit to your marriage, everything that can cause you to walk away from your marriage, close it down now. Be determined to work at it. Be determined to overcome those challenges, those frustrations, those things that your husband or your wife is to be determined to overcome them. Be determined to look beyond the problem, beyond the challenge. Be determined, because at the end of the day, if you can only survive this period, I can tell you that dawn is just by the corner. I believe in my heart that you actually enjoyed this edition of Marriage Without Tears channel. Please do me a favor, share this video with some of your wonderful friends out there, especially those who are going through chaotic marriages. Look at this red button by my side, click on it, get subscribed, be a part of this wonderful journey. I tell you, if you can only listen attentively to some of the points we have raising, especially in several other videos we have done, your marriage will stand the test of time and you will reap glorious benefits at the end of the day. Thank you very much for this wonderful